Hey, what is up, guys? If you're watching this, that means that BlizzCon has very recently concluded, and I kind of just wanted to make a video giving my thoughts and ideas about, everything with Overwatch 2, everything that we saw announced, and just discuss it with you guys. So yeah, BlizzCon happened over the past weekend, and shortly after it finished, I actually put up a poll on my community tab, and I just wanted to get the general feel that you guys have about the Overwatch 2 presentation. So I just put how we feeling about the Overwatch 2 presentation from BlizzCon, and I put three options. It was awesome, I'm excited, disappointment, I wanted to see more PvP based stuff, or I just want new content in the game, man. As it currently stands right now, 61% said I just want new content in the game, man. 30% said it was awesome, I'm excited, and about 9% said disappointed, I wanted to see more PvP based content. I guess for me, I'm sort of in that middle where I'm actually very excited about Overwatch 2, but at the same time, I'm really disappointed and sad that absolutely nothing was announced for current Overwatch. But let's just talk about Overwatch 2, I guess. Yeah, like I said, I'm actually really excited for Overwatch 2 because the PvE content looks really good. Like really good. Like what they showed us in 2019 looked good, but I wasn't really sold. But after seeing this presentation, I am sold on PvE content. And while I am a very hardcore PvP competitive type guy, this looks really enticing and something I think a lot of Overwatch players who weren't sold on it before, I think they're actually really gonna like what they see here. Because it doesn't look like you're just gonna be fighting endless amounts of like easy robots. That's what I was scared about Overwatch PvE. That it's just gonna be us shooting robots for hours. But the enemies look very interesting, very varied. They're not just robots, you got crazy little flying robots, we got like all these different types of enemy classes. I'm not gonna say everything that was there because it's honestly too much, but the combat looks very varied from enemy to enemy, and honestly it just looks really good. The skill trees look a lot more fleshed out. Like your characters are going to be able to do crazy stuff once you get deep in those skill trees. So when you combine, the depth of your skill trees that you can always change, plus the very varied enemies and interesting combat that you're going to be happening, I think the PvE content in this game is actually going to be really good. And I think people who have been looking for more PvE content, lore based, story based content, I think they're really going to enjoy it. And as somebody who cares purely about PvP, I'm definitely going to be trying it out and stuff. And of course, it wasn't just PvE that we saw. They were also talking a little bit about PvP, not as much, but they were talking about, they want to fundamentally change up a lot of things about PvP and change the philosophy and our understanding of how Overwatch currently works. Like they were talking about giving each role a different passive. Like the current way they have it is tanks have CC reduction, DPS have higher base movement speed, and supports have health regeneration, kind of like Mercy but at a much lower rate. And while I think that's interesting, it kind of makes sense for each of the roles, but it's kind of one of those things you're not sure about until you test it out. But definitely interesting for sure. And they also talked a little bit about tanks and how they kind of fundamentally want to change tanks from, not just being people who stand there and hold up shields the entire game, but they want to change them to more like a brawler type style, which I definitely really like the sound of that. Like they were talking about some changes they were seeing with Reinhardt, giving him 2 fire strikes, making him more agile with his charge, being able to cancel his charge. And that was just Reinhardt. I have no idea what they're doing with the other tanks, but I like the idea of, putting tanks in a more aggressive type role. I think just making tanking more fun is a good thing overall, considering it is the least played role in the game by far. If you queue up for tank, you'll get a match in like 30 seconds just because nobody queues up for that role. So I really like that as well. And then in terms of PvP, I think that was mostly it. There were also some talk about, 2CP. Jeff Kaplan actually confirmed thereafter that 2CP will not be competitive for Overwatch 2, which is like a majority of people are happy about, but I personally, I'm kind of split about it. Like, yes, 2CP is my least favorite game mode, but I really like Hanamura and Temple of Anubis. Some of my favorite, games that I've played have been on Hanamura, Temple of Anubis. Volskaya is alright. Paris and Horizon were so bad they got removed from the game. Um, but yeah, I don't think 2CP needed to be removed entirely. I think if there were just like, some tweaks to the maps people have issues with, I think it could be a viable game mode. Or if, we made some changes with where the spawns are. But I don't think the game mode entirely needed to be removed. But majority of people are happy about it. It's not too big of a deal for me. But I just hope, we'll still be able to enjoy, Push and some other new game modes coming. But that was pretty much it for PvP in terms of what they were saying. So yeah, like I said, I'm actually really excited for Overwatch 2. I think the PvE content looks very good. It looks like they're putting in a ton of work, a ton of effort. I like some of the ideas that they were throwing around about PvP, but a lot of the stuff they said about PvP, it's one of the things you just don't know until you try it. For sure, a lot of interesting things were said, but we just won't know until we try it. But just that combined with, everything for PvE, the new maps that were shown were really cool and everything. I'm really excited for this game. I think it's going to be really great once it does launch, which we still don't know when. Best guess is summer next year at the earliest, which is really sad to say, honestly. Before the whole earnings call thing, I thought Overwatch 2 was definitely coming out this year. Got very disappointed when I heard, Activision Blizzard, they're not releasing it this year. And then, the worst thing about this whole BlizzCon thing is that absolutely nothing was announced for Overwatch 1. They didn't say it was going free to play. I thought they would. They didn't say, hey, we're going to release a new hero into the game this year. Nope. They didn't. They said nothing, man. And it was super sad because right now, there's been such little content in the game since last BlizzCon. Since last BlizzCon, they've added Echo, they've added a new deathmatch map, and that's pretty much it. They added Priority Pass, which I guess is a good feature, but it's a small scale feature. So it's just really disappointing that there's nothing new added to the game. This year is going to be another very dry year if that's the case. 2020 was a pretty bad year for Overwatch if you ask me in terms of the content side of things. But this year is looking to be more of the same, which is really tough to hear. But well, we'll see what happens though. Overwatch 2 is coming out probably next year. As for me making Overwatch content, like I said, probably not gonna happen, considering I just find it hard to motivate myself to play the game right now when it just feels so bleak to go back to it. But I guess one of the good things they said was that they're not gonna be holding back content if it's ready. They talked about, we have certain things we're implementing into Overwatch 2, but if it does become available and ready and can work with current Overwatch, they're gonna put it in current Overwatch. And they said think about the Priority Pass. And I think the Priority Pass is actually a really good feature that they added to the game, but it's kind of more like a quality of life type feature, but very useful. So they said think of something like that. If we have more features like that we're working on and they become ready and available to be in the current game, then they're gonna add it to the current game. They're not just gonna hold it off for no reason, which I think is really good. So it does give me a little bit of happiness thinking, well, the year might not be so bad. We might get a couple of features to the scale of the Priority Pass. So I think that's gonna be perfectly fine. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. What do you think about, the whole BlizzCon Overwatch 2 presentation? You excited for Overwatch 2? Do you hate it because you don't care about PvP at all? Are you still playing Overwatch? What do you think is going to be added to Overwatch this year? Let me know the answer to any of those in the comments down below. If you guys like this type of video, please subscribe and like it. And thanks so much for listening to me talk about this, guys. I'll see you next time.